Great. Hey, thanks for being here today, everyone. I'm Mr. Hahn. I'm the building principal, and it's really great to be standing in front of you today. And so I really want to take that opportunity to talk a little bit about that because it has been such a weird year. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Miley, who's going to be talking through some transcript things and just some things to be aware of for the end of the year. Once he is done, I'm going to talk a little bit about the timeline of some important events in your senior year all the way through graduation. All right? So with that, Mr. Miley.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn and class of 2021. Just a couple reminders. I know with transcripts and people going to college or the military, you need to know how do you send those off. You order those through Parchment. It's on the high school webpage. You have to put hold until second semester grades are turned in, okay? So you're not going to order it and send it because you don't have the second semester grades on the transcript. They should be all on there by June 19th. So everybody nod your head. Nod your head on the screen. Thank you. That's great. The next thing I want to talk about is the senior party. Ms. Decker and a ton of parents have worked really hard to get students to participate in that. We have close to 200 students. If you would like to go and you're having a financial hardship or there's a situation, please send me a note. We have a voucher where we can help you, okay? So nod again over there on the screen. Good to see you. Everybody out in the audience, give me a wave or something. Good, okay. Next thing is credits. If you're not sure about your credit situation, you need to privately talk. To make sure you're ready to walk, you need to have currently 21 credits to walk, 22 to graduate with meeting all the requirements. So if you need anything, please make sure you see me if you're not completely sure. Again, as always, stop in. If you have questions, concerns, or comments, more than happy to help you. Send me a Google invite or whatever I can do for you guys too, okay? Again, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Hahn, but thank you guys so much.
All right, class of 2021, we're going to go through and talk about everything from basically starting next week, from cap and gown pickup all the way through graduation, the commencement ceremony, and then also the senior all-night grad party, which Mr. Miley has already mentioned. So as we get started, we're going to start with the practice, okay, for commencement. So what we've planned, let me back up 1 second, okay? I'm going to preface this by saying that yesterday, Governor Walz issued another statement concerning outdoor events, indoor events, and so some things have changed, and we're working through some of those changes. One of the things we know in the planning of our outdoor graduation is that we're going to increase the amount of tickets that your families can get. And so we'll be talking about that and planning for that. I'll mention that at the end of this presentation too. There's some things that could potentially change as well between now and June 12th. So we have over a month to go. And so, again, I appreciate your ability to be flexible and in these crazy times, and again, making good decisions too. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. So anyway, right now, the way that we have this plan is that the last day of school is going to be Thursday, June 10th. Friday, June 11th, we're going to do a practice at 9 a.m. And again, this is weather dependent, and so we're hoping for good weather throughout that last part of your school, of your senior year. And we'll be communicating all the way through, and so we'll be sending out emails and making sure that you're aware when we get done with this too. But the big thing is that we'll start communicating those alternative times if we need them, and this practice is mandatory, and we just need you to be flexible. Again, we're asking for that because it could be that we're practicing, depending upon the weather, in a different location and not on the football field if things change, okay? So we just have to be ready for that. And again, we're going to be putting together that communication for you. All right, people like to dress up for the commencement ceremony. Please make sure that if you had planned on wearing high heels or shoes with spikes on the turf stadium field, you cannot do that. I'd hate for anyone to be walking and trying to walk across the stage, and as they get up to the stage, they fall if one of those high heels gets stuck in the turf, okay? So make sure that you wear a shoe that has a full sole, all right? Next slide, please. All right, so starting next week, on Wednesday, the 12th, you'll be able to pick up your cap and gown at the cafeteria during your lunch period. And so we'll have all those set up down by those double doors on the south end of the commons area. That's where you're going to pick up your cap and gown. If you're not here during that lunch period, just stop in at the main office and we'll have those available for you throughout the rest of the week. All right? Right now in the ePay store, there are the buttons that go on the stoles that you can purchase, and also if you have the required GPA for the silver cord, which is a 3.0, up to a 3.699. If you have a 3.7 and above, it would be the gold cord. And so those are available, again, right now in our ePay store. All right, we have a question mark by the yearbook distribution. So because of COVID, that's impacted a lot of different industry and business. And so one of them that has been impacted is our yearbook publishing company. So I've been talking with Mr. Michelson, and we are one of the schools that's the top of the list because they've got their stuff together. We just don't have a hard date right now for the distribution of your yearbooks and when we're going to get those in. And so again, this is another thing that we will communicate when that comes in. All right? Week of June 1st. So that's a short week. It's a short school week. We come back on the Tuesday after Memorial Day on that Monday. And so June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we'll be doing the handprints, and there'll be a sign-up form, and it'll most likely be a Google sign-up that we'll send out, or a sign-up genius that we'll send out for you to sign up for a time before or after school to do it. We don't have flex time during the middle of the day to allow us to do this in a very easy way, so we're going to do that before and after school. All right? Next slide, please. All right, so on same week here, on June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, during your lunch periods, you can pick up your senior checkout forms. And so we'll be handing those out again during lunch. So what that form does, and Mr. Mali alluded to this earlier, is you're going to take that form around, and you're going to get checked off by each of your teachers. And what that form is saying is that your teacher is saying that you are going to get the credit for that class, you are going to pass that class. Okay? There's a few other things it does too that are important to note. So again, one for credit and that you're going to pass that class. The second thing is it clears all your fees and fines and you've turned in your books, all those sorts of things. The third thing is that when you bring that to the main office to turn it in, we're going to hand you those 4 wristbands for the graduation ceremony, and we'll check your name off the list, okay? So this is like your checklist sheet that you are verifying that you've got all the credits you need to go through the graduation ceremony. The counselors and I will be taking a look at all that information as it comes in, okay? But teachers then, by checking that list, are verifying that you are good to go for graduation, all right? Questions about that specifically?
So just a quick one on that. The teacher will not, just for that, everybody, just a quick reminder, the teacher will not check off your form that you're ready to pass the class until you are, okay? So some might be in earlier June and some might be, the 6th or 7th or whatever until you meet the requirements to pass. So that's why we wanted to give you guys a warning and a heads up. Does that make sense for the people on the camera too? Yep, thanks. So.
All right. Ooh, a little loud, sorry. Also on Wednesday, June 2nd, is going to be, again, this is weather dependent, so I have to keep saying that because this is an outdoor reverse parade. It's very similar to what we did last year with the 2020 graduates, but because this is what we did in place of the senior send-off, this is what we're planning to do right now. And both a group of parents and then staff members have started putting this together and securing the permits for it. It is a really cool event to see it, and we had a lot of thank yous, and parents called in and talked about how great of an event this was for their kids to commemorate their time here in Mahtomedi. And so we want to make sure we're trying to honor and acknowledge again the great things that you have done leading up to that commencement ceremony. So with that, on June 2nd at 3:30 to 4:30, we're going to do the reverse parade. We'll be starting in the green lot, and I'm sure that cars will extend down into the Wildwood parking lot. And then what we're going to have is basically the same route that we used last year. And you'll be coming through the high school campus area. You'll end up going through St. Andrew's parking lot and then out onto East Road and then traveling down to Warner and heading down to OHA, or OH Anderson Elementary School is where this will wrap up, okay? Next slide. All right, for finals week, okay, or the end of the semester week here. So this is also a short week. We have Monday through Thursday. On that Monday, June 7th, that'll be the last time you'll have a regular 6-period day. And so that Monday you'll get a chance to see all of your teachers in that same day. And then the 3 days after that will look very similar to finals that you've had in the past, in a regular year, where we're going to have 2 finals a day, okay, or 2 blocks of time during the day for finals. What's different about this day is that the middle block is going to be your 4th period each day. And that is due to, number one, having consistency for you, and then the second piece is for the lunches. And so we looked at it a number of different ways, but it's going to be used as a study hall for people to get caught up in not just our seniors, but also our 9th through 11th graders as well. And so that middle block, because if we started to have a different period for lunches, we'd have to have a different schedule each day for that, and with contact tracing and things that are happening, that would make it a very difficult time to be able to do that in a very time expedient way. So it's going to be 4th period that you'll have that middle block, and so that you'll still maintain the consistency of having whatever lunch you have, the first lunch, the second lunch, or the third lunch. Okay, continuing on then and getting back to the commencement ceremony. So practice again is mandatory, and it is at 9 a.m. on Friday morning. And we're going to take you through, we're going to meet up on the stadium football field. We'll get everybody arranged alphabetically in your seats, and we'll have a seating chart up there. You're going to have a note card, and then we're going to take you back down to the middle school gym is where we're actually going to stage. And the reason for that is what's happening then on Saturday night, which is a senior all-night party. Families and parents have done an unbelievable job of getting that senior all-night grad party set up and making it a memorable experience, and they really want it to be a surprise. And so we are going to stage out of the middle school. We're going to walk up that east kind of entrance to the stadium area, and then you'll proceed to your appropriate seats and rows for the graduation ceremony. So we'll take you through the whole ceremony. Every single 2021 graduate will walk across the stage during the practice, so that in case you're a little bit anxious or nervous, you've done one practice round, and then we won't be playing the band, or the speeches won't be taking place. So we're hoping that the practice is right around, it's going to be under 90 minutes, all right? And then we're just going to practice so that everybody feels comfortable with it, and then we'll come back hopefully with great weather on Saturday and do it for real, okay? So then that's our first chance, and what we've been communicating out to families is that our first opportunity is at Saturday, June 12th at 12, okay? We sent out backup times of 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock that day, and also for Sunday at 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. If we look at the weather forecast and it's a total wash, then we've also had a great partnership with St. Andrews, and we've been able to secure their facility for Sunday at 6 p.m. All right, our goal is to graduate out on the football stadium just because we think it's a really cool venue. With the introduction of what Governor Walz spoke about yesterday, again, we're going to take a look at what things have changed specifically in there and look at what things we can change besides what I just told you with the amount of tickets going from 2 to 4, all right? So the last piece I'm going to talk about is going to be with the senior all-night grad party, okay? And that's going to take place based upon, the start time for it will be based upon what time we have graduation, all right? So that's why it says to be determined. If you go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So tickets were $100. On May 1st, they went to $120. We've got about 200 students signed up out of the 291 total graduates right now. When you check in, it'll be right outside these doors of door 3 of the Chautauqua area, and they're going to set up right outside if the weather is nice. And you're going to check in there. They're going to ask you to fill out a COVID form. So it's going to ask you all those questions you've seen before, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute here. But you're going to turn everything in except for your cell phone and then any emergency medication that you might need. You'll be able to access that, so there'll be parents there who are watching it or staffing that area all night. If you need something out of they're going to have bags for each graduate to put your stuff in. You'll be able to access that throughout the course of the night, okay? Next slide, please. So the theme for U as 2021 graduates is red, white, and blue. So USA is the theme. And you can just, I know it's a little bit small up there, but I'll be sending this out in a recording on Monday morning to all the graduates and also your families. Go ahead and the next one, please. So check-in time again, to be determined. When you come there, you're going to fill out that participation form and COVID form. There are going to be 2 officers from Washington County who are there. And again, this is just like other events we've had in the past, and they're going to be there for everyone's safety. And then, again, we're going to be following those COVID guidelines from MDH and also the CDC. Next one, please. That's just what the form is like, and you'll be able to use your phone for the QR code to fill this form out electronically. They'll also have some hard copies there for you. Next slide, please. And this, when we send it out to your families, the All-Night Grad Party Planning Committee is still looking for some parent volunteers. It really takes the entire community. There are like 40 or 50 parents that work together on this, and they really transform the high school to make it something special for you. And so that is why we're going to be staging over at the middle school again and also finishing up there. All right, next slide, please. So just some quick reminders, and then I'll get to any questions you might have. We do have yard signs that are still in the main office. We've given out a lot of them, but if you have not picked yours up yet, please come into the main office and pick yours up. And then the second thing is that your future plan cards that are available in the counseling center, it's just cool to see also in our commons area out there on the windows where people are going and what they're doing after you leave here. All right, so with that, are there any questions for me or for Mr. Miley? It's a pretty quiet group. So again, what I want to say is thank you so much for being flexible. I imagine that we'll be putting out some new information probably midweek next week. And if there's changes, and I imagine that we're going to be looking more in depth at the document that came out, we'll be making some changes and then have some different plans too. So please make sure that you're looking at your emails. Please stay safe. Make sure you're masking up and making some good decisions too. And that'll help get us to graduation. All right, thanks for your time, everyone. Have a great day.